Did you know that more than 90% of adults in the US ages 18 through 49 use YouTube? Today we're talking to Nurse Mike of Simple Nursing, who had an idea to take his nursing school knowledge to a whiteboard and started a YouTube channel. Nurse Mike has helped thousands of nursing students and grew Simple Nursing into a multi-million-dollar business. Trust me, you don't want to miss this episode.
Imagine being in nursing school with an idea that could actually help other nursing students pass the NCLEX, pass their classes, and do well in nursing school. But the only challenge is you're not even a nurse yet. Well, let me introduce you to Nurse Mike, the owner of Simple Nursing. Nurse Mike started his journey as a nursing student, and by the time he graduated, he was making more than the dean of his nursing school and had yet to pass NCLEX. In this episode, we will cover the journey that Nurse Mike took and how him stepping outside of his comfort zone led to his $1 million month as a nurse. Tune in to the Nurse Boss Shift. Hey, and welcome to the Nurse Boss Shift. It's your girl, Dr. Kiiyonna Jones.
And Christal.
And we are so excited for our guest speaker today.
Yes, we are.
All right, first, let me tell you guys just a little backstory about Nurse Mike, how I met him, how he ended up here, and then I'll let him jump in and tell a little bit more. I actually attended an amazing event in Austin, Texas, totally kind of outside of my comfort zone because I didn't know a lot about the event, but I love the person who was giving it, and I really wanted to add value to her community. So I showed up, and then I met Nurse Mike, and he just blew my mind, opened my mind wide. You guys know we always talk about the power of community, the power of networking, and showing up in spaces that may make you feel uncomfortable, but can definitely lead to your growth. And that is exactly what happened at this event. And now we have him here on our show. So Nurse Mike, welcome.
Welcome.
What is up? How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself for the audience. I can't imagine if they've been in nursing school within the last 10 years that they don't know you.
Yeah.
But if they don't, let's fill them in on who you are, what your business is, and go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. We are coming up to our 10-year anniversary of our first video posting. If you guys don't know, Simple Nursing used to be the #1 YouTube channel for nursing students. We have over 2,000 videos, even though we only post 500 videos at a time. We are basically like the Cliff Notes version. Instead of going through your book for 3 hours, we condense little bite size, like a chapter of content in 8 minutes, give you a visual aid and a memory trick to basically understand everything. We cut your study time. But it really all started with, it was an 8-year overnight success. I failed at 6 other businesses before starting the stupidest idea, which I thought was like, no one's going to watch these Simple Nursing videos. The reason I say that is because I failed at a nursing school at the time, and which is a whole long story. Well, it's not a long story. I used to teach paramedic school and EKGs. By the time I got into nursing, I was like, fine, I'll be a nurse. I never wanted to be a nurse, by the way, full disclosure. I was always trying to go to PA school. And it's not because I didn't like nursing. I just didn't know what they did.
Right.
But when I started working as a tech in a hospital, I'm like, oh, nurses do this and do that and the other thing. I'm like, I'll be a nurse then. So when I went to nursing school, it was just like the first 2 semesters were just like basic stuff, right? Vital signs and ambulation and bedpans. And that was like first semester. So I started slacking off a lot. And my, nursing school, they don't like that. They don't like to use slack or be cocky, right?
Right.
So I was that cocky student that was early 20s.
Right.
Got a bad name. I think I still have the most write-ups in the first semester of nursing. I think it was like 6 write-ups in the first semester.
Wow.
Got to skim by, got to 3rd semester, did one thing wrong. I think I turned in a late paper or something like that, and then got kicked out, right?
Yeah.
And then my dean sat me down. She's like, "You're going to be an amazing nurse." She was really cool. And she's like, "You're going to be an amazing nurse. Just do a project for me to show me you're serious." And the project was, I'm going to tutor students in like a study hall for 2 weeks, like a little boot camp, show them some study skills, time management skills, do some whiteboard stuff. And then it was there during that project. They're like, "Put this on YouTube." And I was thinking like, dude, no one's going to watch this crap on YouTube. This is dumb. Like, but I did. I posted 2 videos, which became 5, which became 50, and then now it's over 2,000 videos. So
Wow.
so, yeah.
That is so amazing, because I don't think people really realize how your market is going to let you know what they need and their pain points. And a lot of
so true.
times we don't hear it because we think we know what they want and they need, even though they tell us.
Right.
That's the first rule of that's the rookie mistake that I made big time. Every business idea, I call it the rule of 9s, and it's not the Burns. It's the rule of 9s is 9 out of every 10 businesses fail. So you got to be willing to fail 9 times before you succeed. So this was number 7 for me. And when I started Simple Nursing, I was $8,000 in debt from the other business stuff, plus being in nursing school. And then, dude, so often, so many people, and I did the same thing. You know, you think your first idea is the best idea, right? And so it's like you want to get married to the idea before you start to date the idea. So you go out and buy the most expensive equipment. You want to do the best website possible. It's like you buy the ring, you book the venue, you buy your wedding dress before you even have a date.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, guys, just date the idea. Do a beta phase. Just try it out. Test it out with no money and see if it works. And, you know, if it does, then iterate and do number 2. And just let your community tell you what they want. And that's how Simple Nursing started. I'm like, I got a $30 whiteboard from Walmart. I got a sock to erase the board. If you still see on YouTube, I'm still erasing it with a sock. I'm not sure if they're still up there, but we still have a lot of old videos.
It is. We've done our research.
It is up there. Okay.
I was going to say too, another part of that is people are also so scared to at least try. So, you know, you just overcame your fear, put the videos up, and then your community told you, yes, we love this. We want you to do more. So it's also a fact of people not even trying. If you don't try, you won't know if you'll succeed or if you'll fail. Yeah.
No, and that's the beautiful part about it. It's you should expect to fail, because when you fail, you learn. And you never really fail indefinitely. You only fail when you don't try again. That's the biggest thing. And I always tell people, do you guys know the 409 carpet cleaner? Have you seen that in Walmart or anything, or Target? So the reason it's called 409 is because they failed 408 times. So they got it right the 409th time. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Just keep on going. Yeah. So no one tells you can't do anything. It's just you and your own psyche. So if you change your brain, you'll change your bank. And that's why you got to learn before you earn. And you're not earning because you're not learning. That's why.
Yes. I love that.
Gosh, that was already so many gems.
Right. Which brings us to, so one of my talking points, and I wanted to ask you about, was, since you brought it up, was doing it ugly. And so I went back on your YouTube and I was like, dude, the lung that he drew was like on a whiteboard in the room. It was very dark in the background with like books, and he was like talking about pH. What is it?
Like acid.
Acid
base balance, right? In the lungs, and I was like, dude, and this is the perfect example, and we talk about it all the time on this podcast too, about doing it ugly. Like, did you when you started it? What made you, and this is a key takeaway, regardless of what business people want to start, but it's like, what kind of advice would you give to someone about the value of doing it ugly in any business?
Yeah. Honestly, the best advice that I ever got was you should only be 50 to 70% happy with your first product. You should not be 100% happy with your first product. Because if you are 100% happy with your first product, you're going too hard too fast. You're marrying before you date, or you think that you can provide such a value and a service to someone who's never even seen you before. And so you want to start ugly first so that people can tell you what exactly they want, if they even want you.
I love that.
that's the biggest thing, especially for any type of informational based product on YouTube. YouTube, you're gonna know if they want you or not in at least the first 3 months, and you'll definitely know by 6 months. So that's the number one thing. And if you are 100% perfect, then that means you delayed your start. And time is the essence. Like they always say, like, ideas love speed. And if you take your time with ideas, then you're not going to get that acceleration speed. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 70%.
So I was watching
Good.
your videos and I was just amazed at how smart you are, first of all, and how you're
Oh,
able
get out of here,
to
you.
how you're easily able to package this condensed information, like you said, taking the chapter and condensing it. Did that always come natural
Mhm.
to you? Did you teach, or how did you come to make these such huge ideas and condense them into simple bites that people can understand?
And
Yeah,
that are
that's
valuable too,
Yeah.
because there's so
thank
much.
you. Yeah. I some people say I have a gift, but honestly, it just started with my teaching knowledge. I love to teach, and I was teaching paramedics before nursing.
Okay.
I honestly didn't think I was like that amazing or anything. And then when I started doing the YouTube stuff, I would literally have the test I was studying for on a note card, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is how I'm studying, so I'm just going to show you exactly how I used to study.
Ah,
And then my dumb memory tricks. I feel like a lot of students and a lot of educators know this. They just lack the presentation ability of like,
Mhm.
hey, here's what it is. Because I've seen a lot of instructors have great memory tricks or ways of learning something. People just they honestly lack the self confidence of just saying, hey, I'm going to throw up something that's 50% quality and just see what people respond with.
Mhm.
So it's really just believing in yourself and just saying, screw it, I'm just going to do it and see what they say. Because no one's stopping you, just yourself. So
Exactly.
it was only since then I reiterated. I didn't even feel comfortable on camera until around video 50 or 100. And then it was just easier for me. So, yeah, it's got to
that's
start.
so dope. Like, and I think about you are like the perfect, as you're talking, I'm just thinking it was like the
Hmm.
perfect storm for like the YouTube millennial like
Hmm.
revolution that's happening
Mhm.
in this whole e-learning space, all of that just kind of morphed because like
Yeah.
I agree, like, and I've been in academics for 11 years, and I taught public health mostly, but I did do Q
Hmm.
care, and I also did funds, right? And I
Oh,
also taught
okay.
those, but I never thought to like
Yeah.
put up a camera and like, help, which is really what you're doing, like help other people who
Yeah.
may be struggling, right?
Hmm.
And I just feel like it was just such a perfect storm the way you explained, how it started with you just picking up the camera and using the same thing that you were going to do to study, and like how
Exactly. Yeah.
you were remembering it to help others. And I like the fact that you're humble about it. I know you're smart, first of all, but let's just say you weren't. It really doesn't take, like, a
Mhm.
lot of people will try to avert or avoid doing something like this because they'll say, oh, I'm not smart enough, when the reality of it is you just need
Hmm.
discipline. You need to make a decision and show up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Would you
Yeah.
would
That's the number one. I've had so many of my brother's friends who are paramedics because my brother's a firefighter. And that's the route I was going at first. And they're like, your brother just posts videos on YouTube, makes a bunch of money, and travels the world. Like, that's it? I go, oh, well, I can do that. But that's the thing. So many people have asked me, like, hey, how do I do this? And so many talented instructors, too. I'm like, guys, you just need to stay consistent. You're literally only 50 videos away to create a
Oh,
YouTube channel because YouTube only wants you to post one video a week.
yeah.
If
Mhm.
you can get 50 videos done, which is only about 10 hours worth of work, you'll have the entire year to post. And by the end of that year, you're going to see if you're good or if you're bad, and if you should continue on with it. And it's just like, dude, it's literally only about 10 hours of work, but no one does it. No one thinks of it like bite size. So
Yes,
I think that's the
I
hard part.
love that.
I'm thinking now, have you always
Oh,
wanted? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
oh no, I was going to say something to Kiana's point was they always say, like, timing and talent always meet at the intersection where you have to have like that right experience with that right timing.
Yeah.
And 2012, when we posted our first video during Thanksgiving, I still remember my parents going up north. I was still in nursing school. They went up north to visit my grandparents for Thanksgiving. And then that was the day I was like, this weekend, I'm just going to post 20 videos on EKG. What I didn't know was that Google and I think the Bill Gates Foundation, they funded Khan Academy, which had a huge content push on YouTube for education. And it was right, I was catching that wave and I didn't even know it existed. I think it was like 6 months to 12 months before. So people were naturally going on YouTube for education. And it was just that perfect crossroads where I was like catching that wave. So it was
Oh,
nice.
that's dope.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Amazing. I was just going to ask, have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? And what were some of the other businesses that you tried to start that failed?
Yeah, good question. So I kind of flirted with entrepreneurship my whole life. My great grandfather, he had a big business on Puerto Rico. He started a business at 60 something, 63, that I ended up selling for like, I think $50 million back in the 70s. And they used to make the boxes for Bacardi. So I think it runs in the family.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
I know, right? And so I kind of did. So like at 20 years old, I was thinking I just got interested. Like the business, they call it in the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber, I believe. They
Yeah,
call it the
I've read
entrepreneurial
that.
seizure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then
Yep.
like you just kind of it like bites you and you're like, oh man, I could do so much more than
Yeah.
just do what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And so initially I was thinking like, man, what can I do? And I started talking to a guy at my church that did real estate, and he had, I think, 30 properties and investment properties. And so I started learning about that, start reading, listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad, got
Yeah.
into, all the books, Napoleon Hill,
Yeah.
and started just building my knowledge. And then loved fitness, but also was going the medical route. So I kind of fused those two when I was working on the ambulance and then also doing personal training part-time. And so I started a few things around fitness in 2008. And I did a boot camp at 21 where I think we had like 40 people in our boot camp that was outdoors. We were just training them, like those boot camps where they run around the park and stuff. And then I bought this guy's business book of how to basically, his entire package course of how to sell more memberships. And so I think we made we had $20,000 in contracts in 1 month. And at 21 years old, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're rich. We did, but it was only in contracts. And little did I know, 2008 was on the rise. We was like the fall of 2007. And then all the contracts went belly up when everyone lost their jobs.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there, yeah. And then I tried to start an online version of a boot camp, which no one had back in the day. I think Beachbody does it now and a few others.
Yeah.
But I was like, we should do like a live version of a boot camp and stream it and put it on YouTube and a bunch of other platforms. And so that's something else I started. But I was, I think, 21 or 22 at the time. And it just was like the whole world was like burning because the economics.
Yeah.
And then, so then I went back to the ER making $10 an hour. And I'm like, all right, we got to figure this out.
But can you talk about the value? Like, I know that it's a delayed value. And a lot of people, and I always tell people this when it comes to failing, like I have conditioned myself now where when I fail, as people define it, I don't consider it a failure. It's always like a redirection. And I feel like my religious belief is God's protection, right? So I'm being redirected for my own protection, and I may not see it, but I know he's guiding my steps, right? And so for me, when things don't happen my way, the first thing I do, literally, I say, okay, God, what are you showing me? And I try to really dig deep to figure out like, okay, what should I be doing? It didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. Or, that launch didn't happen. Like, what's my takeaway? I choose to give energy to that rather than, oh my God, I failed. This is not meant for me. So can you talk about the delayed value in failure? Like looking back where you are now and like every business, whether it was your boot camp or your fitness, all of those things that didn't, can you talk about the value that has now for you in business?
Oh, so much value in delayed success. Yeah. They call it the curse of the millionaire. Have you guys heard of that? The curse of the curse of the lottery. The curse of the lottery.
Oh, yeah,
basically means,
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like if you come up on money really quick without ever having to learn, ever having to earn, then you don't understand the value of money, and it actually leaves you worse off. They say that your mental status is worse off than somebody who's just been paralyzed or paraplegic with lotto winners who lost everything.
Yes.
and the reason for that is because you never learn the tools of how to manage it. So come full circle, I'm so grateful that I went through all those failures before starting Simple Nursing, because if I struck gold on Simple Nursing my second failure, I wouldn't have known how to get a website together or outsource or go on Upwork or all these other platforms, actually Fiverr, create an email campaign, understand even call to actions or things like that. All these things I learned through the other failures that actually applied because my experience at the time, and then coupled with the timing, everything worked perfectly together. And I'm glad you mentioned stories about the Bible and Christianity, because I grew up in a Christian church, went to a Christian school, but there's a lot of similar delayed success in the Bible itself, because it's like Joseph was thrown into this dungeon as a slave to Egypt, and you're thinking like, what the heck? What's the plan here? Then full circle, he comes and is now the king of Egypt. Yeah. So all I'm saying is like the delayed success is like you have to be grateful for the good, but even more for the bad, because the bad's a better teacher in the long run.
Yeah.
Same thing is true when I failed out of nursing school, because at the time I was like, I failed out of nursing school. I could have just focused on the bad, but that's what I always tell people, like, focus on where you want to go. If you focus on problems, you're going to get more problems. Focus on solutions and where you want to be. Right. Because Simple Nursing would have never happened if I never failed out.
Yeah. So, yes, exactly. Chris, do you have any question? Or did you
So did you end up, I guess to take it full circle, did you end up getting back into nursing school and finishing?
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm a fake nurse. No,
let's talk about that.
yeah. It was funny. Okay, so I'll tell you guys a funny story. But so I ended up getting back into nursing school. I did have one of our instructors wanting to fail me the very last semester, because all the instructors hated me, and they're just like, this guy should not be in the program. But my dean was cool, and she's just like, shut up, like, just let him go, like, he just needs to like come on time and just turn in assignments on time. Right. So I graduate, and I'm walking on stage, and I'm making all these videos, and at the time it's getting a lot of interest, and a lot of instructors are hating on me for that, because apparently this young guy's using tech to like outshine them, apparently. I don't know.
Right.
And so there was a few students from Connecticut, or I think somewhere else in the United States, emailing our dean saying like, is this guy a nurse? Does he go to this school? Because I think I mentioned that I went to Cerritos College, and then my dean's like, she's like, you're not mentioning or wearing your badge from the school, are you? I'm like, no. I just said I went to school in California, and it was located over here. I didn't say it was anywhere else. And they're like, oh, okay. She's like, I didn't give up any information. Anyways, so I'm walking on stage for graduation, getting my diploma, and I still remember, like, man, at the time I was making $20,000 a month, and I'm like, dang, I'm probably making more than my dean right now. Yeah. And she's been doing this for a long time.
Yep.
And that was special for me, because I was like, it's just the power of, keep on going, keep on learning, and you'll eventually earn if you just stay the course. And just treat it like gambling. It's like you're going to Vegas. You're not going to win every hand, so spread out your bets and just learn as much as you can from every experience. That's really the goal. Yeah. But to get back to it, I did graduate.
You did graduate, right?
Yeah.
I have a question, and people may not like to hear this, and especially nurses, because we hold ourselves to such high esteem, right? Yes. And we have this, I don't know, I'll say it and then I'll let you guys chime in on what you think, but it's not that we think we're better, but we definitely think we're more at the top of the food chain, right? Especially, we're in a trusted profession, like we take care of people, we save lives. But there is a huge shift happening right now. And here's why I'm saying this. My coaches are not nurses. Most of them who I've learned from have not even obtained their bachelor's degree, right? But they are killing it financially in the digital space and things like that. So I feel like nurses need to, first of all, one of our biggest hurdles is the fact that we don't have the humility to get off of our high horse and seek, right, what we are in search of from people who may not be valued as, they don't have an education, or, they, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to get off of that So my question for you is, I want you to be honest with me. What
Yeah.
you're doing, and we haven't talked about your monetization yet. We will, but what
Okay.
you're doing, do you really need to be a nurse to do it? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Oh, not at all. I still remember my first nursing job, and I'll be quite honest. My first nursing job wasn't until 3 years after I graduated. And it wasn't because I didn't want to get a job, it's just because I was building out the company, right? I started
Mm-hmm.
Simple Nursing in the last semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember I'm like, I should get experience, and I was telling myself. So I started working in the ER because I was already a tech in the ER, and I still remember it. It was 10 weeks. I made the same amount of money I did, I think, in a few days than I made in 10 weeks being a nurse. And I'm like, guys, this doesn't make any economic sense at all. And I'm doing 12-hour shifts.
Right.
And I'm only helping one patient or four at the time, and I can help hundreds of thousands of more people
Yeah.
online if
Yeah.
I use the same energy. Um, and so that was a huge eye opener to me. And there's so much. Like we went to Nurse Creator Con, and we were talking to experienced nurses with so much knowledge in their head. They
Yes.
just don't have the knowledge of actually building a business or just pivoting into like the idea of the
Yeah.
tech space and really expanding upon that.
Yeah.
And that's why knowledge is power. You got to learn before you earn. And you really do. If you grow your brain, you will grow your bank. I mean, look at dentists, look at chiropractors, look at doctors who start ketamine clinics and stuff. You have to have that business knowledge and those business foundations to be
Yeah.
successful. You have to understand sales and really, how to market yourself. If you don't, you'll always, I won't say just be a nurse, but you'll always be attached to a facility or some type
Yes.
of curriculum, which, yeah,
Yes.
golden handcuffs. Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
we tell our students too, because a lot of times, they'll come take our IV hydration class. And I always say, this is not it. You guys have to take marketing classes and sales classes and
Mm-hmm.
funnel classes. And it's not just, learning how to start an IV hydration business or any business. There's so much more
Yeah.
involved, and we have to continuously learn. It's like we're okay with learning for nursing and doing CEUs and continuing education, but then we don't see that in other aspects such as business, how it's a continued learning journey that you'll have to be on.
Oh, for sure. And I think the big eye opener for me is like there's more crappy products that are just marketed so well, or they reach that viral status, and it's like, dude, you can do such a better job like on a micro level. But the thing is, like, you don't know how to market yourself, and like most people
Yeah.
don't. So it's just those foundational things. And I wish they would have taught that in like, grade school growing up. But at the end of the day, they don't want a lot of people owning probably their own business because everyone's need to be as a brick in the wall in corporate America and fit in their place. So yeah.
Exactly. And
A lot of
you're a
financial
perfect
literacy.
example of that. Here you are making 20,000 plus a month, but the
Mm-hmm.
pressures in nursing to
Oh yeah.
be a real nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and
A
that's
real nurse. Yeah.
a real nurse, right?
Exactly.
And I
What's a real
know a
nurse
lot
anyways?
of nurses experience this. I experienced it, and I've been a nurse almost for 15 years now. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember, like, when I was doing clinicals, like, okay, I don't want to do this. But I was
Mm-hmm.
told, like, you gotta, this is the gate. Like, the gatekeeper is bedside, and then you can expand out. And that's how you're a real nurse. And so it wasn't
Yeah.
until I started the PhD program and my professors were challenging me because I was indoctrinated with it. Like, well, we care. And she's like, well, how do you place measurements on care? Like, she was really challenging me, one professor in particular, and it made me realize, like, that is our problem. We are defined as like a skill based, like, how good can you start an ID, and what's your best story where you were like, slapped upside the head by a patient, or whatever are your traumas, that you have, that you carry, that makes you a nurse. But in reality, we're a science-based profession, right? And as a profession, it's not about how good you can do a skill, right? And so we get PhDs in nursing, but yet we are still defining our profession based on those skills that anyone can do.
Yeah. And that's the biggest lie we tell ourselves as nurses. The biggest lie is that you come out of school thinking that you're going to do this for 30 years. And in reality, the statistics are everyone who graduates in a new grad program, only 50% will still be bedside after 5 years. they're going to go into other routes, whether it's Botox, esthetician, or management or
Yeah.
education. So bedside isn't everything. And I still get that today. Like so many students in school, they'll always hit me up and be like, is Mike a real nurse? And it's like, guys, you don't even know. Talk to me in 5 years when you're not doing bedside anymore, or burnt out, or taken advantage of by your facility. And then let me know if you want to be that real nurse, you know?
I mean, we have to change it though, Mike. And I love what you're doing. And Christal and I that's why we have this podcast, because we have to change the narrative on what a real nurse is. And like, we are more than skills, like wiping butts, and like, we are so much more than that. And we have so much more to offer. And if we do this and we embrace this, I say revolution in nursing as well, that's happening right now, then nursing can look different. And they will have to start playing by our rules and not us playing by their financial gain rules, if that I just made that up, but you get my point.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for a hospital ran by nurses rather than a bunch of physicians. That would be amazing. Because I mean, 80% of the hospitals are nurses. It's the backbone of the hospital. You can't do anything without nurses. And
we have
people
power.
are realizing that during COVID.
Yeah, we have so much power. You don't tap into it.
I know. It's like and that's the lie that everyone says. It's almost like, we're basically the mules that are pulling everyone. But they don't want to tell you that, hey, you have so much power that you can pull it in any direction you want.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
Chris, did you have anything you want to say before I get into my monetization
Oh, Daddy,
question? I'm excited to talk about this.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, so let's talk about it. This is the Nurse Boss Shift, and so we talk about shift, right? Nurses making that shift, okay? And this is where shift happens. So let's talk about the financial. We talked about the 20K, and we know that's great. Okay. First of all, that's like 4 shifts a week travel nurse money, right? If we were to put it in nursing terms, that's 48 hours of your life per week, right? That you can't get back. And now you were bringing that in passively, essentially, but you had to do the active part first. I always say the active before the passive. But let's talk about the big month. Let's talk about your $1 million month. I want to know what were the pros and what were the cons, and how the heck is this possible? Because we all want to do it.
Yeah, that is not. That wasn't a typo in the script. $1 million month. No, Okay, before we talk about that, let's talk about the $100,000 month, because for me personally, it was a lot more special to do $100,000 in 1 month than to do one. I know it sounds weird, but $1 million in 1 month.
Yeah.
But they always say, like, the first million is hard. The second million's easy because you already built the machine, and it's you're already on a downhill slope.
Okay.
So in 2013, we made $350,000. The best PDF I ever listened or downloaded was from Craig Ballantyne. It was called "How to Make $100,000 in 12 Months with an Info Product Online." How to make $100,000 in 12 months online. And I still remember reading it or having the printout in our break room as a tech with 6 months left in nursing. This was like right when I was doing simple nursing. And my charge nurse, super crabby, she came in, she's like, looked around, she's like, well, it doesn't look like any of us are independently wealthy, so here we are. I'm like, we're not here for patients, or Anyways, long story short, that gave me the fire of like, screw it, I'm gonna try this thing, see if it goes anywhere. We made $350,000, and I still remember, I'm like, even if I can make $50,000 and not $100,000, I would still be making more than I am as a tech.
Right.
So $350,000 in the first year. Second year, $900,000. In 18 months, we broke the $1 million mark as a company. And I think about right close to 2 years, we were doing $100,000 a month. In about 2.5 years, we hit the $2.1 million area. Now, here's the struggles of, like we talked about. I'm pretty sure we mentioned this before, where it's like, to start, you're a lifelong learner. Remember, if you want to stop learning, you're probably going to stop earning.
Yeah.
Because we had a little small mom and pop business at the time. It was just me doing whiteboard videos with a sock My brother's wife was doing customer service. One of my good friends that used to work at CarMax, he was also a nurse, my carpool buddy. He used to do car sales, and now he's doing customer sales for Simple Nursing. And so we kind of this like little ragtag group, and they were like, okay, this is kind of cool, making $2 million a year and just doing that. And so I'm over there traveling the world after reading the book 4 Hour Work Week, which tells you how to work only 4 hours a week, travel anywhere you want, make passive income. And so I was like, yes, I made it in the shade. We did it. I thought it was the end of the story. I'm like, this will go on forever. I'm retired. And then that's where the storm hit. So what the book didn't tell you was that competitors enter. So everyone started ripping me off on YouTube. Everyone literally just copied exactly what I was doing, but posting it for free. And so I really couldn't charge anything, if at all. So, and then to include on top of that, another guy that took our name, half of our name, he started talking trash about me on all these blogs, saying I wasn't a real nurse and I didn't take my NCLEX, and just, I was like, what? But he was talking trash about everyone, like Kaplan and everyone else. So I was like, you know what? You have two choices at every point in life. It's either you're going to get bitter or you can get better. And so you always have to choose to get better. And if you don't know how, you always just ask yourself a question. Like, never tell yourself, I can't because. Always ask yourself a question, because your brain's a muscle. So ask yourself, how can I? Or just agree with your brain. I know it's impossible, but how could it be possible if it was possible? Because your brain's a natural problem solver. If you tell your brain you can't, it'll shut down. But if you tell your brain, how can I? It'll start working and figure it out, even if it is impossible. So between 2015 to 2018-ish, it was about 3.5 years that we were declining year over year by 30%. And that's where all the storms happened between my brother's wife. My brother was like her manager, kind of. We're losing customers, right? And she's customer service. He's asking for more money as customers go down. I'm like, how does that make sense? We're taking care of less customers. You want more money for customer service? And then there's fights between my dad and the sales guy, which is my good friend. And so everything was kind of going awry. And we pretty much only had about 18 months left in this window as like we're diving toward the trees. And we're like, it's either all of us are going to be out of a job here in the next 18 months, or I have to fire everyone on our team and we have to reorg into an actual legitimate, educational company. Because once you get to this area of, you have a minimal viable product, fancy words for just a basic product that people like. If you guys ever seen like the story of Apple with Steve Jobs or Ashton Kutcher or the other one, it shows that what got you here is not going to get you there into the $1 million month. So to keep it in a nutshell, the biggest thing is people. People are number one on your team. Because it's really simple. Look at sports teams. Like, look at the Buccaneers. They got Brady on their team, went to the championship, and won the Super Bowl, right? You get a LeBron James on your team, they're going to be dunking on everyone. You're probably going to be at a championship one day. So that was the goal. I boiled it down to 3 Ps because I love acronyms. So I'm like, the people, the product, and then how you pitch it. So the idea was we have to find the right people who are 5-year experts or plus in their field. I have to redo the product. I had to redo all 2,000 videos, which we just completed this year. So that was a lot.
Wow.
And we had to pitch it in a better way than we were doing. And even it was really scary because we were on this 3.5-year losing streak. And I'm like, guys, even if I invest my life savings at the time, which is like, I think $200,000, there was no guarantee that we're ever coming back from this. Because what if there's just so much free content on YouTube that they don't even want us anymore?
Right.
So it was a huge risk. And I'll give it a lot to my business partner, who I was like, you know what? He has a really cushy job at a big tech firm, and they're going to offer him a raise close to $300,000 that year. And for him to kind of jump ship and take a risk on this, kind of like flipping this house, I'm like, dude, I was telling him, don't do it, because like, but if you do, we'll split the company and we'll both profit here. So long story short, we stopped the bleeding in 2019. And then we started hiring experts one at a time. 2020, we doubled our sales, or actually tripled, because of COVID, because everyone's going online and they're like looking for online resources. And then at that time, we just produced the pharmacology course. We were like the sparkling new guy on the block on YouTube. Everyone else had these old whiteboard videos. We had these beautiful cartoon ones, and everyone's like, whoa. Then we're
Latest
just like
song.
pedal to the metal. Oh man. But that was the coolest part because it was just that one guy, that one person that I can separate the business. And I'm like, you take the business side, I'll take the content side. And I'm like, I'll be like Bruno Mars. I'll make the music, you sell the music, you know?
Yeah.
The biggest thing if you're scaling your business and building it up, the biggest thing is to find the right people around you. Only do what you can do. It's called the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80% should be off your plate. Only do 20% of the work, the only thing that you're really passionate about and you have a talent for. So that's what we did. And fast forward, we've been working about 3.5 years together now. And he's basically built out, I think he's hired about 12 people on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
And on the content side, we've been adding instructors as well as an entire digital marketing team. We have about 30 people working with us now.
Wow.
And we had to build this machine, and his biggest driving force, the number one thing you're looking for in people is grit and basically a desire of not to lose. And they'll do anything they can to not lose. It was in this book, $1 Billion Coach from Jim or Tim Campbell. That was the number one thing. This guy coached Steve Jobs, the Google guys, and his number one thing was grit. So good thing my business partner had that. Anyways, long story short, we built this amazing team, and he was really driving for just video game numbers, like 100% growth year over year. And so that's why it was just because of him, nothing I did. He helped build that entire wing that got us to the $1 million mark in 1 month. And that's why I'm saying it's like, it was a lot more special. It's just like, I didn't have anything to do with it almost. I mean, I had the content side, and I did exactly what I needed to do to give him the success because he's pitching it out there. But man, it's so special to like even be here right now, even talking to you guys, because it could have not worked out, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking at all.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you never know. You just got to keep on learning, and eventually you'll earn maybe $1 million a month or maybe more, because our goal is to be a $20 million annual revenue company. And that would be $2 million months close or close-ish to that.
Wow.
So that is the goal.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, my mind is definitely blown. That's so amazing. So amazing. Yes. And then
what is okay, I know people are probably gonna wonder this though. I know we're gonna get to the next part, but before we get to that, it's not just YouTube that you made that 100K month or that $1 million month, right? It's not just the monetization of YouTube. Can you tell like what that branched off for you that led to all these different streams of revenue?
Yeah, I'll give you guys right now. Like TikTok, we don't make any money off of. YouTube doesn't even give you more than $100 and something thousand a year. It's only if you get like those, millions of views, which, YouTube wide, I think we only have a few videos that actually barely over 1 million views. So what really helps, and this is why I want to launch this like YouTube masterclass, where it just basically shows you like how I got started, my journey, and how anyone with an informational product could do it. Where it's all you do is you get your knowledge, you put it into a masterclass format. Let's just say you have 5 hours of content. You dice those 5 hours of content into like 5 or 10 minute videos, little modules, put them in a playlist, and then literally launch one video a week on YouTube, set it and forget it. YouTube lets you schedule out 2 years worth of content. So you can literally do it in a weekend and just set it, forget it for 2 years. And as it starts to shoot out to YouTube, the goal is to get them going back to a website like Udemy or what was the other one? LearnDash or Skillshare. Kajabi. And then they can buy your course, whatever the course is. I think my first course was on Udemy for $19 because I was convinced. I'm like, this is a fluke. Okay, people are watching this, but no one's ever going to purchase this. I'm like, no, like you would be dumb to purchase something from a guy who failed. Like that was the idea in my mind, at least at the time.
Best person to
so
purchase.
It's okay.
Right. Especially when you fail and you failed, but you overcame it. People don't want just people who are just perfect. It's not relatable.
Yeah. It's very true. And that's what I'm saying is that like, you just put videos, like I used to put all my content on YouTube, keep it up there for 2 or 3 months, and then just lock them or unlist them so that YouTube starts liking you. you can release it and then lock it down. And the rule of thumb is just to keep about 25 to 30% of your videos on YouTube. And usually those are like the top performers, so that they'll go back to your link and then purchase your full course. So yeah,
That's
that
that's
is the
right
idea.
there, a
Thank you.
masterclass on
Right.
making money off of
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube.
I'm taking notes.
It's very simple. Yeah, the problem is the ideas work, but the thing is you have to work the ideas. You just have to test it out. Don't get married to it. Go on the date, commit. Literally, we can commit 30 days to this idea, and that's what I did with Simple Nursing. And if it works, then go on to phase 2, and then phase 3, and then commit a little bit more time, just keep on going on a few more dates. And
Yes.
Yes.
that's the
Well,
idea.
thank you. Because as someone trying to build my YouTube, that was definitely helpful. So I was going to ask
Yeah.
you if there's a nurse listening or someone listening who wants to start a YouTube channel on giving value and
Mhm.
information. We always have a section where we ask our guests for homework for our listeners. So and you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what are the top 3 things if you
Yeah.
had to give someone wanting to start their own YouTube channel homework to do to get started?
Yeah. Okay. So number 1, if you're watching this, write this down. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So number 1, yeah, actually write down 52 videos.
52.
The faster you can make 52 videos, and the goal is to be in 30 days.
Okay.
Your goal should be 52 videos. That's 1 video a week for the entire year. If you can make 52 videos in 30 days, you'll have an entire year's worth of content. Number 2 is just set up an iPhone. Do not hire a production company if you don't have the money for it. It's going to be like $5,000, $6,000. This is what I did. I set up an iPhone and literally record yourself. iPhones are great quality and it records really well. The sound quality is good. Who cares? Put earpods in. This is your version 1. No one's going to critique you. As long as the content's good, people are going to watch you. So let's just say you're doing an IV course. Let's just say you're doing a Botox course. Let's just say you're doing whatever you're doing. Maybe you do case management. I don't know, or wound care. Then just figure out if you can build out like a 5-hour course, or just talk as much as you can on key topics. We're trying to get to those 52 videos. So I don't even know what point I'm at, but
That was 1.
But the idea, oh man, am I on 1 or 2? So really, you're just trying to get, I would say, about 5 to 10 hours worth of content. More content is better. And so I guess that would be point number 3, about 5 to 10 hours worth of content. So if working backwards, put your 5 to 10 hours worth of content on a iPhone, and then cut those videos up into about 5 to 10 minute videos. You can go longer, but I don't think initially YouTube won't allow you to upload more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes at a time, until you have over 10,000 subscribers, I think, something like that. And so that's a lot better. And then you should always use, use an e-learning platform like Udemy or Kajabi to always link back into that, masterclass so people can purchase from you. That's the goal. So yeah.
Got it.
I love that.
And
guys, this can be any topic. Here's the thing. I know some people are going to watch this podcast and well, he's smart, or he's creative, or he has the.
No, I was dumb at the start.
Like to argue for our limitations. Let me tell you, if we were in court for that, most nurses would win, because we argue for those limitations and why he can and she can, but I can't. So this could apply to anything. Is that right? You don't even have to be a nurse for this. So they can think outside of their nursing box or inside of their nursing box. Would you agree?
Oh, of course. I would even just tell people to agree with themselves, saying okay, I'm not smart enough. Fantastic. How can I get smart enough? How can I learn? Imagine if nursing, it's so funny. We take care of people. We save people's lives. Imagine the first day of nursing school if you're I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't. If you keep on telling yourself you've never been a nurse, how the heck are you even here being a nurse? We are so much more powerful than we actually think we are. If we actually had a YouTube university where we had modules and semesters and projects, it's anyone can do it. But the thing is, you just don't believe in yourself because it's self-guided, So we should start a YouTube university. Let's do that.
I'm telling you,
let's do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Listen, this has been an amazing. Listen, we could go on forever, but for the
Right.
sake of time, in your time, Mike, because we know you're a busy man, we're
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and close this out. But I definitely want you guys to take the time and do the work. Remember, this is about a shift. And if you want that shift, we're providing you with the experts who have actually done it more than once
Yeah.
in most cases. And so
Mhm.
all you have to do is follow the blueprint. The beautiful thing in this podcast is that you guys are being introduced to people who did it when there was not even other industry experts. So now you're fortunate because you have access to industry experts who are actually doing it, but not just doing it, also killing it. So, Nurse Mike, if you could provide us with your information on these social media streets, and then also if you have anything coming up or that they can
Yeah.
purchase or anything like that, let us know.
Yeah. So go to YouTube University. No, I'm just kidding. Not yet. Maybe one day.
Coming soon.
But I actually do want to create a 48-hour product launch and show someone how to do it in 48 hours. I think that's one of the projects. I would love to work on that with you, Kiiyonna, or even you,
Yes,
Christal.
yes, yes, yes.
Maybe all of us collabing.
Well, I would
But
love to take
yeah,
that course.
if you, yeah, exactly.
I'll be your first
I
student.
wish that course, existed. But yeah, if you guys are if you know anyone in nursing school, like all we do right now is just the simple nursing stuff. And eventually we do want to make these master classes for, for nurses getting out of bedside and actually monetizing their information. That would be the ultimate goal. We got to speak it into existence.
Yes, we are going to do it.
Yeah, but I'm on YouTube, Instagram, all the things except Twitter. Actually, I think I do have a Twitter. I don't know. So yeah, everything
And
else.
it's Simple Nursing, right? Is that all of them are
Yeah.
Simple Nursing? Okay.
Yeah, all of them are simple nursing. I know people type in simply nursing, but it's just simple nursing. So yeah,
Simple Nursing.
don't get it twisted.
All right, you guys, go ahead. And if I just can't imagine they're not I mean, you have over 750, over what, 80,000 followers, 780,000 followers or something crazy like that. So
yeah, I think it's like 1 million followers social media wide, but yeah, I think YouTube's our biggest one, almost 750,000. I can't wait till we get to 1 million. That would be great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's help them, guys.
So
Get to 1 million.
if they don't know about, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if they don't know, they've heard. So you guys make sure you go ahead and follow him on his platforms. And then if you are already a nurse, be on the lookout for what Mike and I are been flirting with, like this last segment of the podcast, because we got some amazing things coming for those who are already nurses who want to get into the digital space, especially on YouTube and other social media platforms. So thank you so much, Mike, for joining us.
Mike.
We really appreciate
so
you for
much.
bringing that value to the Nurse Boss podcast. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say thank you. It was very enlightening. I learned a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, I definitely.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I do appreciate you guys. Inviting me to your community and just it's all about nurses empowering other nurses.
Yes,
and, dude. Like the biggest thing, we're so powerful. We just tell ourselves no. So stop telling yourself no. Just say, "How can I?" And we give you we give you the tools and the resources.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, on that note,
all right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, you guys.
See you guys. Thanks so much.